It's the first time these three beauties have seen such a handsome man. They couldn't help but look at him a bit more. When the man realized it, he walked towards them. The three women were so excited. They thought the man would come over to talk to them, but the next moment, the man passed through them as if they were air. He went straight to the mirror to admire his own beautiful face. The three women looked disappointed. This man's name is Joon Ho. He's the CEO of a public company. Except for his secretary Mina, he almost never lets other women come near him. Every day when he goes to work, there are dozens of employees behind him. After every meeting, all the employees have to stand up to see him leave. Only after he leaves do they dare to sit down. But such a perfect man has one unacceptable flaw. He's too self-absorbed. Even at parties, he would suddenly look in the mirror. Mina tried to come over to remind him, but he asked Mina if he was handsome. When Mina complimented him on how perfect he was reluctant to leave. On the way back, Mina wanted to tell him she was quitting, but he thought she was going to confess her love to him. When he found out the truth, he looked embarrassed. At night, Joon Ho tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. He couldn't figure out why Mina suddenly quit. The next morning, he called Mina to his office. He asked her why she quit, but Mina didn't say anything. She just said it was because of personal reasons. In order to find out why Mina quit her job, he asked a friend to help him analyze the situation. He said there are only two reasons why employees leave their jobs. One is because they are angry at work. The other was that they weren't paid enough. Joon Ho seemed to understand something. He immediately went to Mina and offered her a promotion and a raise. He even offered to buy her a car and a house. All he wanted was for Mina not to quit, but Mina said her mind was made up. Joon Ho went to his friend again. He told his friend that he was confused. His friend was also puzzled. He asked him what happened the day he quit. Joon Ho thought about it carefully. That day, he asked Mina to buy flowers for Ji-won. When she came back, she was in tears. Suddenly, he realized everything. Mina must like him. That's why she was so sad to quit her job. But the truth is, Mina has been allergic to pollen since she was a child. That's why she was in tears. When he thought that Mina liked him, he couldn't help but smile. He quickly called Mina out. He wanted to tell her about Ji-won. As soon as Mina got into the car, Joon Ho handed her a bouquet of flowers. Mina felt bad and sprayed him in the face. Then she threw the flowers into the trunk, but Joon Ho didn't even notice. He even looked pleased with himself. Mina felt confused, because she always thought of Joon Ho as her boss. She never dared to think of him in a bad way, so she insisted on leaving the company. This time, Joon Ho guessed wrong again. It kept him up at night. The next morning, Mina didn't show up for work. He felt a sense of emptiness in his heart, but when he saw the resignation letter on his desk, he felt sad. He finally agreed to Mina's resignation. Soon a beautiful woman came to apply for the job. He asked Mina to interview with him. Mina asked the girl what kind of character she should have as a secretary. She said she should take care of her boss like her own child. Joon Ho said if your boss is already perfect. He said if your boss is already perfect and doesn't need you to take care of him, what would you do? The girl says she's lucky to have such a boss. Mina added, are you sure you can make a perfect boss happy? Seeing that the pretty girl was in a bit of a dilemma, Joon Ho hurriedly added that the salary is the best in the industry. The girl seemed to be attracted by the generous salary. That's how Joon Ho took her on in a huff, and told her to start as soon as possible. At that moment, Mina suddenly felt a sense of loss. She finally revealed the reason why she was quitting. After all, she's already 29 years old this year. She was already old enough to get married. Since working as a secretary, she's had no life except for work. Joon Ho seemed to understand something. At night, he went to Mina's house. He asked her if she really quit because she wanted to get married. Mina was sure she was, but Joon Ho told her not to quit her job. He told her to marry her. Mina was silent for a moment. She thought he was drunk. She went over to him and smelled him. Her friends laughed at his proposal. Joon Ho thought he was too hasty. He approached Mina again. He said they could start with a relationship, but Mina rejected him mercilessly. She said he wasn't her type at all. This was a blow to Joon Ho's self-confidence. When he got home, Joon Ho called out of the blue, but Mina didn't answer it. The next day, Joon Ho came to pick up Mina from work. Mina was too excited. She tripped and fell down the steps. She was about to fall to the ground. Joon Ho rushed over and grabbed her. The two of them looked at each other. They look at each other with affection. Joon Ho was injured in a fight with his brother. He wanted to talk to Mina, but he didn't have the courage to go upstairs. He wanted to turn around and leave, but then he saw Mina coming back from outside. Maybe she was too engrossed in looking at her cell phone. Mina didn't even notice him. Joon Ho wanted to say hello, but he startled her. The eggs he just bought got smashed to pieces. Mina wanted to complain, but then she realized that the corner of Joon Ho's mouth was cracked, so she dragged him to the house. But as soon as she entered, she realized the house was a mess. Obviously, she forgot to clean up after leaving the house this morning. Luckily, she reacted quickly and pushed him out. She told him to wait outside. In a panic, she put her clothes on the bed and covered them with a doll. Then she invited Joon Ho in. Seeing Mina rubbing his wounds, Joon Ho couldn't help but feel tempted. Just when everyone thought something was going to happen, Joon Ho suddenly came to his senses. The two of them looked embarrassed. In order to ease the awkward atmosphere, Mina offered to cook ramen as a midnight snack, while Joon Ho was wandering around the room, but he noticed that the dolls on the bed were upside down. Curious, he tries to fix the doll. Mina felt something was wrong. She quickly rushed towards Joon Ho. She accidentally knocked him down on the bed. Mina froze in her tracks. She was about to get up. Joon Ho grabbed her in his arms. At that moment, both of them fell in love with each other. The next day, Mina was about to leave for work. She got a call from Joon Ho. He said he was waiting for her downstairs. Maybe she's used to being a secretary. She was going to be a driver, but Joon Ho stopped her. Then he told Mina to get in the car. After arriving at the office, Joon Ho confessed his love for Mina. The two of them are getting closer and closer to each other, but suddenly, Joon Ho pushed her away. Mina was shocked by the sudden change, but she stopped when she hit the wall. It turns out, a woman suddenly appeared in Joon Ho's mind. A woman was walking towards him, with her hair down. He felt like he was about to be strangled by a woman. That's why he pushed Mina away. He wanted to go over and explain. Mina gave him an evil look. Then she left in anger. Mina went to her friend with a lot of complaints. Her friend thought that Joon Ho was like that. She thinks he has a psychological shadow. That's why he's not attracted to girls. Mina thinks that maybe she's wrong about Joon Ho. But what kind of shadow does he have? Mina couldn't figure it out. On the other hand, Joon Ho wanted to send a text message to explain, but he deleted all the text messages he had just written. In the end, he just sent an apology. When Mina saw the text message, she felt confused. She said she didn't know what was going on. When he saw it, he was embarrassed and regretful. The next day, Joon Ho wrote a sincere apology letter. He promised to be Mina's secretary for a day. He promised to do whatever she asked him to do. Mina then smiled proudly. When the two of them were riding on the bus, Joon Ho, who had never been on a bus before, he didn't know how to use the bracelet. He complained about the design of the bus. Mina reminded him and he realized it. At that moment, a passenger got up and got off the bus. Mina asked Joon Ho to sit first, but then she suddenly felt something was wrong. She's the boss today, so she quickly sat down. At that moment, there was a sudden break. Joon Ho couldn't hold on. He sat on Mina's lap. The two of them looked at each other. In the evening, they had their first barbecue. Joon Ho was used to waiting for someone to serve him. Mina pretended to hand him a piece of barbecue meat, but then she suddenly took it back and ate it herself. Joon Ho could only smile awkwardly. Mina told him. She told him to grill it himself if he wanted to eat it. Joon Ho nodded helplessly. Then he picked up the clips and scissors. Seeing how clumsy he looked, Mina couldn't help but laugh. On the way back, Mina suddenly noticed a crane machine on the side of the road. She couldn't help but grab a few, but she couldn't get one several times. Joon Ho couldn't stand it any longer. He wanted to show off, but as expected, he didn't catch anything either. In a fit of pique, he took out his wallet and tried to buy the machine, but Mina pulled him away. The next day, he came back to try again, but the two kids laughed at him. They called him a hobo. Joon Ho laughed and said, "I'm 100 billionaire. The kids asked why he didn't just buy the crane machine if he was so rich. Joon Ho said it wouldn't be fair. It's only meaningful if you catch it yourself. After that, he signaled the kid to keep quiet. He moved the lever carefully. When the time was right, he pressed the button, and it worked. Joon Ho was so excited. He took the doll to Mina's office. He handed the doll to her. Mina was so touched that she burst into tears. In the evening, Joon Ho came to see Mina with a late-night snack. While they were eating happily, her sister's voice came from outside the door. Mina was at a loss for words. In a panic, she hid Joon Ho in the closet. When she saw the two sets of dishes on the table, she was suspicious. She got angry and asked if Joon Ho had been here. Mina had no choice but to admit it, but her sister was adamant that she didn't want the two of them to be together, because they were from two different worlds. In order to prove that he truly loves Mina, Joon Ho tried to show his sister how much he loved her. He helped them work together. Seeing Joon Ho's sincerity, she changed her mind about him. That day, Joon Ho had to go on a business trip. To ease the pain of missing each other, they took a sweet picture together, so they could look at them when they missed each other. Soon after, Joon Ho came back from his business trip. They couldn't help but make out in the office. Unexpectedly, a coworker outside saw them. Mina panicked and broke away from Joon Ho's arms. This time, she couldn't get away with it. On this day, Joon Ho wanted Mina to take him to meet her father-in-law, but Mina said it's too early to meet him now. At that moment, her father suddenly appeared. Mina was so nervous. When her father found out that her daughter was dating Joon Ho, he was so excited that he jumped out of bed. Mina was so shocked by her father's reaction that she didn't know what to do. She thought he'd say yes to her daughter's relationship, but she didn't realize that he was against it. Joon Ho was devastated. At that moment, suddenly, someone called. It's an urgent call from the company, so Joon Ho rushed away. But as soon as he left, his father immediately smiled in triumph. He said he was a good boy. Mina looked puzzled. She said she was against it just now. Why did she say he's nice now? Father told her it's called a trick. That's the only way he'll treat you better. If you say yes to his proposal so easily, he won't appreciate it in the future. That day, Joon Ho proposed to Mina again. While they were making out, suddenly, his father screamed. His father expressed his displeasure. Joon Ho was so shocked that he almost suffocated. His father-in-law hurriedly pulled him towards the door. Joon Ho looked very nervous. His father-in-law was talking nonsense. A proposal like that is not classy at all. If you really want to marry Mina, make a new romantic proposal. After all, life can be ordinary, but not without romance. Joon Ho thinks it makes sense. For a romantic proposal, Joon Ho has been racking his brain for a romantic proposal. He started to collect information about other people's proposals on the internet, but he couldn't find a satisfactory proposal. He was at a loss for ideas, so he came to his friend for help. With a little help from his friend, Joon Ho knew exactly what to do. He called Mina and asked her out. When Mina showed up, she was mesmerized by the scene in front of her. The road was lined with candles. Mina followed the candle light. She came to a fruit bowl, filled with the candies she loved as a child. Mina took one and put it in her hand. With a happy smile on her face, she continued to walk inside. As soon as she entered, a signboard appeared in front of her. Mina walked over to it. She slowly opened it. Each one was filled with Joon Ho's love for her. Mina followed the arrow and pushed the door open. She saw Joon Ho playing the piano. Mina walked towards Joon Ho. At this moment, she was overwhelmed by the romantic proposal. Joon Ho slowly walked towards her. He got down on one knee and proposed to Mina. Mina smiled and nodded. Finally, the two of them walked happily into the wedding hall. Happiness may be late, but he's never absent.